building the Promethean Active Panel Titanium Series on a stand with the balance box so that it can be raised and lowered. And these are the tools that will be most helpful to you. Not necessary to have exactly these things, but we've found that it is definitely helpful. Utility knife, Phillips head screwdriver, a 4mm and a 5mm Allen set, and I find that a small 5mm regular Allen wrench is helpful also. A ratchet with a 10mm and a 13mm sockets, and a small extension. Also helpful is a impact drill with a 10mm socket and a 5mm Allen set for it. We begin with unboxing. There are screws hidden everywhere in the packaging. These are important. In this box we have stand tower. Adapter bracket and the hardware is all in here. Instructions. And the adapter bracket. Okay, to begin, you want to take this base and you want it to be upside down. The sticker is not necessarily means that it's up. What you need to look for is this little keyway right here. That comes in later for the shelf. So we turn this upside down. Put the small side of the base towards the side that has the slot. That's for your wire management. These bolts right here, once it go in, okay. Good. Now, in the first box here, take this. Down with the openings up. There are 3 positions that you can mount this in depending on the desired height that you want. It can be mounted up here for a very low board in the middle, or today we're going to be mounting it at its highest position. So I'm going to go down here. Take our 5mm head bolts, and nylon lock nuts, and begin by inserting these side to the middle. There's 8 of these. This is the longest part of it. Now, that's where I find the small 5mm just fits in there a little bit nicer. Okay. Let's get set on here. Have the longer bolts just like on the other end of the stand. I just want to start them by hand. Got our cable management. Those on there, and this part is basically done. Let's do that first. This is the shelf bracket, accessory shelf. It has special bolts, still 5mm. They have little notches in them. Those slide into this little hole. Now take one, just let it fall. This gets a little bit tricky. Put that in. Through the hole. This one is going to come up and just slide into that little notch. Very helpful to have 2 people with this. Switch to the balance box. These are very heavy. When you open this, you have to find these bolts. And we have the hanging bracket. Little hooks on it. Take 2 of your 5mm bolts. Insert them through these holes. I'm going to hold it from one side with a 5mm and go through the hole. Secure the hanging bracket. Okay, so This is the top.
No, this is the top.
Lift this up. And
Pull these little styrofoam things out.
pull those holders out. And when we want to do that, we can check that later. So from the back side here, we found that these were shipped a little bit too tight. So Ralph's going to use his 10 millimeter on the impact drill and loosen these up using a counterclockwise. That's about even with this opening right here. You want to be pretty close to that. Okay, now we're going to hang, using the hanging bracket, we're going to put it right into that little spot right there. Now, next thing you want to do is there's a couple of Phillips head screws in these holes, and those are attached to little feet. Those are leveling feet, so that when you put the weight of the television on it, or the screen, it doesn't sag forward. So as I tighten that, little foot comes out and kind of brings this a little bit more level. I'll bring this one out to match. Just some, so that they're equal, that's about all that matters. Our next piece, cover. Once again, you open the box, you find a bag of screws. These will be your smaller screws. Instructions. They've started shipping them pre-bent, which is not very helpful. So you actually have to straighten it out a little bit. Straighten these little arms out. The arms go down, and these little holes are going to slip over those adjustment feet. So you can put it in like this. Just let it hang. That's fine.
And these arms are facing forward in front of the unit.
In this bag, you've got the 4 millimeter head screws. You have 2 long ones, 2 short ones, and 4 nuts. Those are not shipped with any extra. So take this on your long Allen screw, insert it from the front to the rear in the hole just below the Phillips head screw, and put the nut on there. I'll have to switch from my 13 to my 10 millimeter. These you don't want to over tighten. It will prevent function. Nylon lock is engaged is plenty. What that does is prevent that balance box from coming off. So it's locked on there now. Okay. Lock the unit. These are locking tabs here. Pinch them together and just pop right out. We have boxes of parts. And we have the back. There's actually 3 pieces here. Need to Remove the zip ties, packaging. Use your Phillips screwdriver to remove these two small screws. Okay. Now, this unit, turn it back over. And we have the vessel mount screws. They're the same as the 5mm screws, they're just a little bit shorter. You take your 5mm, go to the lower hole in the upper corner, just start your threads, just enough so it'll hold. Go around, do that to all four just till they're started. And then you can go back and tighten them all down. Okay, take your 4mm, these small screws, and you slide this cover up, and then there's a hole here in that cover, and that bolts to the vessel mount. Once again, it doesn't need to be really tight. And the Promethean board is ready. The mount is ready for the board. Remove these Phillips head screws from the back of the Promethean board. I'm going to mount these at the maximum height.
I probably think so in the medium.
So it's going to be third hole?
Third hole, I think, is the
Third hole for the
matching
top.
hole.
Once again, start your screws before you tighten them. Good idea to have 2 or 3 people. Lock the box. This particular one, it lines up about the 3rd mark right there. Put the 2 small Phillips head screws on the bottom. lock the screen to the mount. And it's done. Now check it for function. Make sure that it will stay at any position and not raise itself all the way up like that. That's a little bit too tight. So we'll want to loosen those up a little bit. You can access, you can adjust it without removing this. This panel right here just slips off so you can see what you're doing. This one's a little bit higher. Maybe enough. There we go. Put this panel back in. There's a channel on each side, and that slips into that little groove. And that's it. Thank you very much.